I promise this is the last time you'll see me today. This has been a great afternoon, and I know that all of you have been as entranced as I have by the afternoon so far. I think what you're going to see now will take it even further for you. This is a piece that was created, conceived and adapted for the stage by Mr. Gregory Hinton, who is with us today. I can't see out there, but Greg, if you're out there, please stand up and take a bow for us. With original music composed by our pianist and music director, Mr. Shawn Kirchner. And as I said earlier, there are CDs. After you see this today, you are going to want these CDs, and they are available in the lobby and will be after the performance. We also want to give special thanks to Focus Features and Jerry Seamus and Jerry, did I get the name right? James Seamus. I knew I didn't get the name right. Jerry just didn't sound right. James Seamus and Focus Features for this great film. And we want to give special thanks as the readings that you're going to hear are based on the writings of the Ultimate Brokeback Forum from this book, Beyond Brokeback, The Impact of a Film. I understand we have some members of the Ultimate Brokeback Forum in the audience, so let's give them a big round. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Mr. Dave Cullen.
More than 10 million people went to see Brokeback Mountain after it opened in the winter of 2005. For some of them, it was just a movie, but others walked out of the theater feeling like something had been ripped open inside of them. They talked to friends, to family, to roommates, to therapists. Some found what they needed there, others kept on looking. Thousands found each other on a website called the Ultimate Brokeback Forum. Some came to discuss the film, others needed to talk about themselves. Some of us saw a little more on the screen than we were comfortable with. Even before the film's release, it started. The trailer called us on our bullshit. There are lies we have to tell, one of the captions read. There are truths we can't deny. Lies we have to tell, do we? When did we accept that? And what price did we pay? Jack and Ennis paid pretty dearly, and watching them swallow up their lies was what it finally took for some people. Many of us left the theater fired up. We'll never know how many slept on it and thought better of it. Maybe they could live with those lies. But we couldn't shake this film. It ate at us for days or weeks. It demanded change that wasn't going away. The forum drew more than 500,000 posts in its first year. But the more startling figure concerns all the people who did not post. 50 to 100,000 came by each month to silently witness. They had a unique position to watch from. Thousands of lives changed before our eyes on this forum. First, we shared the fictional lives, Jack and Ennis getting ripped apart on the screen in the dark. Then we saw what these guys did to us. Not just the immediate reaction in the lobby or over drinks an hour later, the lasting effect, months down the road. Who changed? Who didn't? With all the unexpected turns in our own stories. So many changes. I never foresaw that. I wish I could say I created Ultimate Brokeback Forum to help all these people. It never crossed my mind. Never occurred to me that they would need it. The intensity of the fallout from this film took me by surprise. I started the website just to help the film. It was the audience who was left in need.
closest friend. The story, which I reread for the first time since it appeared in The New Yorker in 1997, and the general air of expectancy around the film had made me eager to see it, but nothing could have prepared me for the impact of that first viewing. As my friends and I left the theater, we exchanged no more than 2 or 3 sentences about the film, both of us feeling overwhelmed and stunned into silence.
I'm consumed. I'm cursed. There's so many memories, so much pain. I successfully buried most of it until this movie brought it all back. I actually convinced myself I was happy. Doing okay, but I'm so lost and so very alone. I just got back from milking 95 head of cows. It gives me time to think about what I've been feeling.
The credits roll, and I hurry to grab my coat and straighten my baseball cap, fearful that every emotion I was laughing off to myself in order not to let them out would pour out into the lobby. I couldn't look anyone in the eye for fear I wouldn't know how to speak to them. I stumble out, confused, with a piercing pain in my chest and stomach. My phone rings, and I find it hard to breathe and speak to my ex on the line. I huff out, "I just saw Brokeback Mountain. I really can't talk right now."
When the movie ended, I just stayed in my seat through all the credits, giving time to compose myself and believe it. By the time I did get up and turn around, I was alone, as the others sitting behind me had already left, so no one saw how red my eyes were. I don't recall having a desire to go out and see Brokeback Mountain. I think I assumed it would be all gay bashing, and who would want to see that? Plus, I didn't want to get my heart broken.
You stagger out of the cinema in a daze.
It hit me like a missile.
I was stunned. I sat in the theater alone after everyone left. Cried.
It has made me think, reach out, contact the love of my life, consider making geographic moves. In short, it ripped down every wall I'd ever built around my heart.
Why do some people walk out of the theater and go to dinner and talk about the weather? Others walk out to find that the horizon's been erased.
Are we so powerfully affected by this movie because so much of our lives are numb? And this movie won't let us be numb?
I met a friend at a party a month after I'd seen Brokeback Mountain. As usual, we discussed some movies we recently attended, and he asked me about the Ang Lee film. I blurted out, "I can't get it out of my soul."
I think Ang Lee should get his ass over here and clean up my house. It's not my fault I can't get anything done. And after he's done with your house, he needs to come to my house and help my kids with their homework. The teachers at school probably think I'm out of town and my husband's in charge.
Brokeback provided us with a language of loss that we could all understand. It hit us directly in the heart and ripped our protective layers to shreds. It left us vulnerable and raw, but also alive. Brokeback cannot give meaning or purpose to our lives, but it has exposed the need, shown us that we may have lost our direction, and we need to reclaim it.
We all have stories to tell, just as I'm sharing part of mine here. Our stories are fundamentals of how we make sense of the world, how we know and understand one another through our joy and suffering. Our stories embody our hopes and dreams and future possibilities.
I am Scottish and I live in Spain. I have just come virgin-like to Brokeback. It has dropped a depth charge into my very existence, blowing away all the digressive rubbish 50 years on the planet has filled my brain with, reminding me, perhaps just in time, that love in all its forms is the only imperative to which the soul should learn. Ang and the gang, you should be very proud. This is a life-changing work of art.
Remember those 2 shirts? That smell of grass and mountain air? Lingering no more.
Your face, a memory, our threadbare sleeves entwined. Come home to me now. I left pieces of me on the road for you to find. Is there anything more than darkness at the end of our journey?
Jack! Jack!
Jack?
Jack.
Jack?
Jack.
I live in the general region of Childress, where the movie was banned, and well remember the gay bashings and murders that were not uncommon around here during the late 70s and early 80s and even still. A friend of mine, for a while, was more than that. Was one of many innocent victims. I can't begin to imagine the impact this movie has and will continue to have on my life.
Brokeback Mountain hit me like a Mack truck. It ran right over my body and left tire tracks, indelible and permanent, on my soul. Every day for more than a month, during long walks, I confronted long suppressed memories and struggled to come to grips with the demons those memories freed. My first memory, a happy one, stretches back to the age of 5 or 6. I was holding my grandmother's hand as she introduced me to her cowboy pals, Bud and Manuel. From their scuffed leather boots to their weathered Stetsons, they looked like real men. Lean, muscular, with big calloused hands and strong faces, tanned by the sun. Bud owned a cattle ranch. Manuel was his foreman. They built barbed wire fences and rode the range together on horseback. Later on, I realized they also shared a bed. Bud and Manuel were gay cowboys, even though neither man would have known what gay meant 60 years ago. In those days, gay folk were called queers and homos. Nobody but Bud and Manuel would have dared ask if they were gay, but everybody sensed that Bud belonged to Manuel. They were an inseparable pair, just like my grandmother's marriage friends. I've thought a lot about Bud and Manuel after viewing Brokeback Mountain. They are long gone, but I wish they were here to share their story with me. How did they forge a relationship in rural California in the 1940s? 3 visual metaphors from Brokeback Mountain echo in the memories of every gay man who came out when Ennis and Jack were struggling to accept their love. The closet, the bloodied shirts, and the tire iron. Most gay men were wedged in closets so tight and airless, we could hardly breathe. We all had our bloodied shirts, the secrets and pain and hurt we experienced. We all feared the tire iron that could strike suddenly and violently. My gay friends have been attacked with everything from broken bottles and baseball bats to rocks and ice picks. Brokeback Mountain started me on a journey of self-healing. During my walks, I confronted many things I long suppressed. Everything came spilling out, and with the help of my friends, I worked through it all. I wouldn't trade that journey for anything. It has led me to self-understanding and self-acceptance. I call it the Brokeback Miracle.
Everyone should have the opportunity to watch Brokeback Mountain. And this masterpiece is a weapon against ignorance, intolerance, and the like. Rimbaud thought that poetry can change a life. Well, I'm one of those who believe that Brokeback Mountain can change a life.
I'm a 56-year-old divorced woman. I have had such an incredible experience after watching Brokeback Mountain. I'm still sorting out my emotions. I had low expectations going into the movie due to all the hoopla and negative comments. I was not prepared anyway for what happened to me as I watched it. I have never understood how people of the same sex could love each other like a man and woman. I've tried in my life to come to terms with this, but without much success. Then, as I was sitting there watching Ennis and Jack, it started to hit me with such power I couldn't control it. That's what Brokeback Mountain did for me. I know how beautiful love between 2 men can be. I have to stop now because I am crying and I'm overcome with my emotions.
Cost of movie tickets, $42 for 6 showings. Weight gained by a diet of popcorn, junior mints, and cherry coke, 7.3 pounds. boxes of Kleenex to dry unexplained bouts of crying. 4, money spent on eBay on an I Heart Gay Cowboys t-shirt. $13 plus $5 shipping. Believing in love again as I watch the dozy embrace. Priceless.
A lot of people, myself included, have been confused and a little freaked out by their strong emotional reactions to Brokeback Mountain. To wit, the tears that seem almost non-stop in the weeks after first seeing the movie or reading the book, and that seem to kick right back in at the drop of a cowboy hat in the months that follow. Some have said it felt like Brokeback Mountain uncovered a well of sadness in them they didn't know existed, which also applies to me. What didn't make sense to me was why people with seemingly little in common, male or female, straight or gay, happily married or divorced, single or partnered, all ended up the same way, sobbing as if our hearts would break. I think each of us who's had this reaction has experienced severe emotional wounding that up until now has never been healed by grieving. I also think that the reason we've not grieved up until now is that the wounding, even though severe, was a slow process. So slow that many of us didn't even know we had been hurt until we saw the slow, indisputable proof laid out before us on the screen or page and realized that, to varying degrees, it was the story of our own lives being told.
I'm a lesbian, and I'm struggling to find happiness. I have issues to resolve with a special lady in my life. I have some individuals in my past who linger in my memories as a disappointment. Of course, there are also straight women around me today who cannot return my affections, even if some of them, in another world, would feel safe to explore that side of themselves. So, the movie hit me, well, it hit home for me. The concepts of lost love, of impossible circumstances, of waiting, of hoping, of settling for crumbs, when you are capable of giving so much more.
I'm 61. No man who is gay does not live in the closet, betraying the truth about himself, denying who he is by presenting himself as who he is not, often many times a day, in the bank, in the laundry, at the gas station, to a neighbor, to a stranger, not just for convenience, but out of fear, mistrust, anxiety, that is a low-grade constant. Because no gay man has not seen the hostility, not encountered the contempt at one time or another. Few have not felt personally threatened. Many have felt the smashing blows. Every gay man at one time knows the toll this disdain or derision takes. But if it is sometimes dealt with ably, too often, it is not.
I grew up in Jackson, Wyoming, before it was a ski area. It was a way of life. The last century has changed things around here in Wyoming a fair amount, but maybe not as much as most of the world. I think it has to do with the harshness of the landscape. A lot of people who come here don't appreciate the wild, sheer majesty of this part of the world. That's what I love about it the most. I have to say, when I'm around large groups of people, I'm apprehensive. But when I'm in the middle of a ground blizzard, I feel comforted. I don't know what to expect from people. But while this country is unforgiving, if you respect it, you will be rewarded with wonders beyond belief. A few days ago, I visited Porcupine Hills, which is near Brokeback Mountain in the Bighorns. This Brokeback has an N in it. On the way back up, I lost my footing and I fell. I knocked over a rock and there was one of those lapel pins underneath. It was all rusted up, but I could still read the inscription. Are we over the rainbow yet?
It was nobody's business but theirs, and yet standing above, sentinel, a tree took in, along with sunlight, this radiance of an arm, a leg embracing madly the other one, sheen of flank and thigh, dark hair light, bodies twisting. A vow, a threat, a promise. Of loves beyond love's own tired meaning. They imagined themselves invisible, yet sighing as they did. The boughs and the wind watched, trembling as they did. They longed to embrace too. The embrace upon the pine's own scattered needles. Summer ended. Years passed. A tree cut down. Firewood. But within the fire from 63 glowed there the memory of a love long past, an after-image, like the sun behind the clouds, behind closed eyes.
Friend, do you know that when I first laid my eyes on you, I made a place for you in my heart. And all these years that little feeling
life, like everything I shoved away just so I could survive, has decided to visit me in full measure.
While Annie Proulx may have intended to write a story about the destructiveness of homophobia, I think she wrote about something else, of which perhaps even she was unaware. A story about the destructiveness of emotional and physical abuse and the neglect of young boys. Had both Jack and Ennis had childhoods built on love, I'd like to believe they would have had the means to make things work, or at least make better choices. Without that foundation, they were doomed from birth. I find myself crying at inappropriate times. Real life has almost never felt this painfully real.
I'm 19. I came out when I was 14. We go through a lot that shapes who we are, how we view gay people, how we relate to others, and have relationships. Growing up in a small town where I came out, I've had so much emotional and personal shit to deal with. I was met with a lot of tension and hate. It scared me. To this day, I have a hard time accepting and loving myself. While Brokeback Mountain shows me what not to do, it also shows me that there isn't just one type of gay man. There's a connection to be found and shared between two people that no one else can verbalize, not even the people involved. Brokeback Mountain showed me that there are people out there who will love you for what you are, despite all your flaws and tragedies. And in life, and relationships aren't easy. There isn't always just one happy ending. But the choices we make define us, and sometimes we have choices for happier futures.
I don't want to be known as a white woman. I mean, when someone sees me, I want them to think more than aging hippie. I'm both, but much, much more. And more than that, I believe that this is true of everyone. I've been reading that those who control the language control far more. Categories, pigeonholes like gay, bi, straight, are social constructs. I mean, they can be part of one's identity if one wants, but they aren't the person. It's wonderful when we train our eyes and heart to see the entire person instead of just one feature. It's too bad we can't teach that to kids in school. It would go a long way towards eliminating bigotry.
My son had several girlfriends, some quite serious, but it was only when I saw him with Alan that my husband and I realized he really loved him. It's been so good for us to see that he has this capacity to really love someone. To me, he is just my son, who happens to love another man. Like everyone else, this film has got me good. I went to see it to help me understand my gay son, but you won't be surprised to hear that the person I understand better is myself. I took my 14-year-old daughter to see Brokeback Mountain. She's in her last year of middle school, thank God. And the "that's so gay" phrase they all like to throw around is something I've been lecturing against to no avail. She's a sensitive kid, though, and I thought she could handle the movie, so we went. Halfway through, she was sniffling. When the postcard came back marked deceased, she started sobbing and didn't stop until we left the theater. She talked all the way home about how sorry she feels for Ennis and Jack. How can Ennis bear to live? She declared that she thinks Ennis will commit suicide. I pointed out that she was talking about them like they were real people, not movie characters, to give her a mirror. And she paused to say, but they were so real, it didn't feel like a movie.
The minimum age to see Brokeback Mountain in Finland is 11. My friend's daughter is 14. and her class sees 2 movies each semester, together as part of the school's curriculum. The students get to choose a movie with the teacher's videoing, if necessary, of course. This time, her whole class wanted to see Brokeback Mountain. The teachers resisted at first, but the class was adamant and they all went to see it. They thought the ending was stupid because why couldn't they be together? They had good discussions, not about homosexuality, but about losing a friend, about what it means to fall in love, about harassment and violence, and about what it is like to be perceived as different. My friend is divorced, and she said that for the first time her daughter had shared her feelings about it with her classmates and with her. But why had the teachers objected at first? They were afraid of the reaction of the parents. Not one parent complained. Not one. Thank God. The next generation. Sometimes I'm proud to be from up north.
Brokeback Mountain is to be used as a teaching school in high schools. Hooray! Makes me proud to be a Canadian. Again. The British Columbia Teachers Federation, Homophobia and Heterosexism Action Group has developed a Brokeback Mountain lesson plan. Stated outcomes of the lesson plan are to encourage students, 1, to analyze how this movie reflects current-day attitudes towards gay people. 2, to understand how homophobia impacts people's daily lives. And 3, to encourage students' personal choices in making the world more accepting of GLBT people. Among the questions given for the discussion among students after viewing the film are the following. What factors influence homophobia in rural communities? How would they be similar to your local community? To what degree has life changed for rural LGBT youth since 1963 when this movie was set? What needs to change in society before Jack Twist's dream of him and Ennis owning a ranch together would be a non-event in a rural community?
I grew up in a small town in southeast Oklahoma. I always knew I'd have to leave, and it tore me apart to have to decide between my home and family or real life.
As a boy, I was blessed that my father took me camping and fishing in the Flat Tops wilderness area of northern Colorado. In this time with him, I learned to appreciate the world and its natural beauty. And Brokeback Mountain takes me back to those places. They conjure emotions of connectedness, yearning, humility. I remember those long summer days and starlit nights, telling stories around the campfire as the air began to chill. The experience was palpable. I could smell the smoke, taste the elk meat, feel the damp cold, and hear the crackling embers. A year ago, my father suddenly passed away. My brother and I took his ashes up to the mountaintop lake where he taught us to fish as boys. It's one of the most important things I've done in my life.
Where I am now, you can't see me. Way up high among the hazy blue. And you can't know that I am watching in the sweet, cool dream forever. Up here in the sweet forever, I can read your mind, the mind you never deigned to share with me. It's funny how I know you better now since the world and I parted company. If I could, I'd comfort you and tell you it's all right. I'd sing the song that you once sung to me. But instead, I'll watch you, see you safe, in the sweet, cool dream forever. Ennis, being alone doesn't mend matters, and the whiskey ain't much help now neither. But each new wrinkle, each gray hair I cherish in the sweet, cool dream forever. I heard your whispered vow to me. I heard your silent prayer. I know more than you did what you meant when you said, Jack, I swear. Will you ever look up at the stars again and wonder what it's like up there? If you do, perhaps you'll see me in this sweet, cool dream forever. See me waiting for you here in this sweet, cool dream forever.
When I first saw Brokeback, I questioned whether I was happy. After a month-long evaluation, I decided I am happy, but I need to get some passion into my marriage. After 11 years with the same gorgeous guy, we've gotten comfortable and need to make some changes. Many of us married women have been asking the same questions. This has turned into a process of self-evaluation for many of us, which is good. Everyone needs to make some changes in their lives, and if this movie has sparked it for us, it is a good thing.
I too have lost that spark. I don't know why or how it happened. I turned 40 this month and have been married for 14 years. Have 2 children, a house, 2 dogs, and a white picket fence. Yeah, you name it. I have all the things in life that I thought I needed. My husband got his master's, and I have been in this job for 16 years. For the first time, I looked at our marriage, we both did, and realized that we fell through the cracks. We used to have all sorts of wild sex. We broke the waterbed once. What happened? Seeing this movie brought out so much I was not ready to handle. It made me think life is so precious. I've been trying to get my husband to see the movie. I want him to connect. I don't like to nag, so I will wait until he is ready. But we did have our first intimate talk last night in a long time. We both admitted we need each other. We are still in love, but it could go bad if we just let it go. This movie gave me courage and opened my eyes. Brokeback saved my life. I truly believe that.
As a middle-aged married man, the story and movie have made me determined to re-examine my career and my job. I don't love what I do anymore. It's time for a change. I need to take a look at opportunities and see what I could be missing. I'm also determined to reconnect with old friends and strengthen the friendships I have. I am more of an Ennis type, and expressing emotion is difficult for me. I want to tell my wife and kids more often that I love them. I want to hug my friends and tell them how special they are.
I'm a heterosexual married mother of 5 kids. And this movie changed my marriage. I mean, we've always had a good marriage, but after Brokeback, I saw how important it was for me to cherish my partner and to not take for granted the freedom we have to live and express our love, both verbally and intimately. I feel like I just woke up from a long sleep. I feel haunted by the idea that life is half over for me, and I am suddenly aware of how grateful I am for this treasure of my man, who is still sexy, caring, deeply committed, and my best friend.
I'm 39, female, totally heterosexual, and totally re-in-love with my live-in boyfriend since seeing Brokeback Mountain. Jack died at my age. Ennis was left lonely, with important words never said and deep regrets. If I'm going to have a life partner, I'm going to be like Jack and love him to the point of reckless abandon. Brokeback showed me what fear can do, and I don't want to have those regrets.
One of my friends, a devoutly religious grandmother, bought Brokeback Mountain at the local Walmart yesterday. After viewing it, she sent me a most touching email. Like so many straight people, she had no idea how society is treating gay folk. It's simply not her experience. Well, seeing Brokeback Mountain for the first time 3 months ago, I started an intense email exchange with her about homophobia and how it's affected my life. She knows now, and her reaction to the film shows it.
It has taken nearly 2 hours to regain my composure. I need to talk about this film. It is so beautiful, so perfect, so unbearably painful to watch. From the moment Jack drives away, for the first of many times, and Ennis crumples in the alley, the truths start coming at me. The ugly truths, the hatred that haunts their love, the lies they both must tell, the relentless onward movement of tragedy unfolding. I want all the Jacks and Ennises to live their lives in love and peace. I want the wretched hatred that flames in the eyes of the boss and Jack's father to soften with acceptance and understanding. I want both of those beautiful boys to sit down at the table together and have a piece of mother's cherry cake. I want no bloodied shirts in the closet. I want no closet at all. I want no reason to sob without comfort for 2 hours after watching a movie that reveals such excruciating pain that I feel raw and bleeding from exposure to it. That's what I want. Yes, that's what I want.
In the meadow on high, we would smell grass and pine, and embraced we would lie in the wild columbine. Scalding tears of guilt never said, "You are mine," and my lover got killed in the wild columbine. Weary life of regret I will down and whine, for my lover is dead in the wild columbine. Soul wilted and bled of my death warning sign, for my lover's long gone in the wild columbine. I will never forget, till my day's last decline, smell of grass in the wild columbine.
The single best part of this Brokeback Mountain journey, the part I hope will far outlast the novelty of having our great work of art, is that it has stirred a quiescent multitude of rural, suburban, and downright country gay men out of their settled, passive, and ultimately suffocating hiding holes. Having been disrespected or ignored by our so-called gay community, we have scanned the horizons and have found a bleak landscape. By and large, we have settled. Some for abstinence, some for furtive bathroom encounters, some for sex with prostitutes, some for computer porn. Many of us have all but given up the quest for a mate. The sad thing, and this applies to the real senior division here, such as myself, is that this is the time of life when engagement with the community and a friend or love really signifies the passage to a dignified rather than pathetic old age. My cat is great company, but he can't bring me breakfast in bed on a day when the joints don't want to work. Even sadder is that those of us who have reached advanced years have a wealth of experience, and we hope to pass it on if only anyone was listening or even thought that there was beauty and worth in aging. Most of a generation of talent and love and experience was wiped out by AIDS. I can't speak for anyone but myself here, but Being strong and authentic and forward-looking is a job that requires more fortitude than I can muster on my own most days. And I thought I was pretty much just that, on my own. I can see now that I underestimated you. You are out there. And you share common life experiences and common fears and joys and sorrows with me. I hope crying over or celebrating this film brings us together. I need to know that all of you are out there to move forward. And I really hope that some of us can become real friends. And most of all, I hope I can find my complement out there, hiding on a ranch, or in a flat, or, best of all, on a beach in Hawaii. It has been more than a decade since I've slept in the arms of another man, largely by choice. For I will not settle for Mr. Right now. I have worked too hard and paid too dearly to become the man I am, to disrespect myself with one-night stands or weekend flings, tempting though they might be. I am worth love. And so are you all, brothers.
I'm not sure I'm representative of any big demographic, but Brokeback Mountain has had one striking impact in the way I view the community around me, the culture around me. It really offends me to see pop culture icons and entertainers resorting to the old stereotypes of gays for humor. Most entertainers would stop dead in their tracks about jokes that would stereotype women or African Americans. But with gays, that type of offensive stereotyping has never been questioned, until now. Brokeback Mountain has put a universal, dignified human face on gay humanity. People may be taking a while to admit that many families everywhere have members who are not straight. But Brokeback Mountain delivers the stunning lesson that individuals' collisions with their gayness is a matter of supreme seriousness. Maybe tragedy, maybe even majesty. And anyone who wants to make fun of it is seriously embarrassing him or herself.
Brokeback has become something very precious, profound, life-changing, even sacred.
I dragged my rather conservative hubby to see Brokeback Mountain. I warned him not to make comments or anything during the film. He actually behaved pretty well. Anyway, the movie ends, and I'm crying like a baby, and he turns to me and says,
They shouldn't make movies like that.
uh-oh, here we go. I don't need this right now. What do you mean? Sniff.
The ending was so sad. I don't like feeling like crap after a movie.
Oh, honey. Floodgate opens.
What?
Self-conscious. Am I the only person crying in the theater?
Well, there's a couple guys over there, and there's that girl. And I had to hold back a few tears.
So the big, macho, conservative, sports-loving Stallone fan actually loved the movie. He's getting so lucky tonight.
I've been feeling pretty devastated as of late. This may sound odd, but weirdly enough, a movie about a relationship between two men contributed to my recovery greatly. It's bizarre, and I can't figure it out. The heat generated from the movie screen, getting the chance to read the forum, sharing in everyone's stories, squealing and giggling, it's amazing therapy. My awareness of myself as a sexual being, well, kind of feel like my pilot light has been reignited. Woof. How strange is that? I'll be in Montana next month. Got family out there, and them cowboys better look out. It cracks me up that some people get all offended by the content of Brokeback when, in all likelihood, it'll cause more straight cowboys to get laid than any other music movie in history.
We never meant to hurt anyone, but we couldn't help what we were doing. We were in love.
Up all night.
I'm a straight woman raised in a patriarchal to the extreme household. I can tell you their suffering is par for the course. We know it, we feel it, and we live it in one way or another every day of our lives. We know more than we care to about emotionally unavailable and cheating men. Although I believe that without the suffering of the families, mothers, daughters, wives, that this movie would not have had the impact that it does, and would not be the work of art that it is. The fact remains that we already know about the women. We are laid low by this movie because we can finally connect to masculine pain. Because we've not had the occasion to see two men in a timeless romance. They are our focus in this movie. When Jack says that the truth is that he misses Ennis so bad he can hardly stand it, Jake Gyllenhaal made this movie so real and human that I would never see men, especially gay men, the same, ever. They became something new, something fully human. I never knew I was missing something. I thought I had empathy. I had nothing. Since I now fully identify and connect with the men, they are telling my story as well as the women. The two men also have equal power, and so we as women are drawn to them to tell our story in a way never told before by women characters. It is a powerful thing for us to have our hearts rendered anew in male bodies. I think that's why the men are so stunning.
How is it that I never knew, through all the lonely years ahead, the things that I would mourn the most were all the words we never said? Grieving still for vows unkept and of the music still unplayed, with tears unwept that flood the soul, for promises we never made. When efforts to recall your smile call up a stranger's face instead, when memory fails and vision pales, I'll regret those words unsaid. As time winds down and days go short, and evening falls with vespers rung, my tears well up and fill my heart with all the songs we left unsung. Drowned in the silence of your eyes, as you deigned to follow where I led, the sadness lingers in my heart, still haunted by those words unsaid. And when my last mistake is made, in the place where lost illusions stir, I'll mourn the chances left untaken, and all the dreams that never were.
Draw me a picture. Tell me a lie. Paint it with stars on a midnight sky. Send me a signal. Show me the way back down the road to our yesterday. The place once safe is ours no more.
I'd draw me that picture. Tell truth and not lie. Paint it in rainbows on a brilliant blue sky. You'll send me a signal. You'll show me the way back over the mountain to a happier day. That plan so safe will be ours once more. It's all right, I'll wait just a little bit more. This life I live, so your memory I'll keep. I love you, I miss you, and I'll see you in my sleep.
Strong arms, moist warm breath, soft song memories held near time. A rainbow stops.
How can we care so damn much for two people who aren't real?
This movie is part of my skin. What can I do?
I'm a 33-year-old man. I've been married for 10 and a half years. I have 4 kids. But the last 8 months of my life have been turbulent, and I think that's why Brokeback Mountain has had such an impact on me. I've lived like Ennis all my life. I was born into a Christian family that lived by the book, literally. And I've grown up doing the same, but all the while having an internal struggle that I'd hoped would go away. I've secretly liked guys all my life. I got married to a nice girl who actively pursued me. Marriage was expected. To come out to a family would have been the most disastrous thing I could do. We were perceived as the perfect family. I'm one of 5 children, and I was not going to bring shame to the family. So in comes Brokeback Mountain. I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. The movie rocked my world. It shook me to the core, so much that old baggage that I had been carrying for so long finally loosened enough that I had to drop it and look at it. After many counseling sessions, much pain, and looking into my life and my wife's life, we decided it was best that we divorce. During our counseling sessions, I revealed that I had a thing for men and that I felt this way all my life. But we decided to try to maintain a friendly relationship for ourselves and even more for our children. So I moved into our spare room. I find desperation knocking on my door regularly. Life is hard right now. If nothing else, Brokeback Mountain calls you to action. If this movie awakens something in you, you have to act. My eyes have been opened.
Brokeback Mountain has cured me, as only a good religious experience could. I'm known for my gloom and doom, but Brokeback has rocked me to the core like nothing before. I haven't felt depressed since I downloaded the trailer last fall. Sadness, maybe, but with happiness standing strongly beside it. If I ever do get depressed again, I will listen to the soundtrack, face the sadness head on, have a good cry, let it all out, and then feel that weight lifted. I am in love with this new life experience. I've read that the high of a new love can last about a year, so we'll see. I can't help feeling that I'm not the same person I was before all this started. I feel like the past has been wiped away. And for the first time, I feel that life is not as bad as I thought it was.
I'm 21. I'm still in the closet. I'm pretty much one of the guys. I am not remotely interested in the gay scene. I don't hate it, it's just not my thing. Even though I'm in LA, it's pretty hard to find someone like myself, so I've never had a boyfriend. Before I saw Brokeback Mountain, I felt I would end up alone. I never thought I'd find a guy and have a fulfilling relationship. And now, as I type this, I hate myself for giving up that dream without a fight. The idea of finding true love came back into my life. Brokeback Mountain helped me come out of the closet to myself.
I have a rather uplifting story for all of you in the closet. Oddly enough, it begins with the horrifying events at the Oscars. I was so unbearably depressed about that awful night and couldn't imagine how such a thing could have happened. I mean, crash. Are you kidding? Anyway, the next day I came home from school early and my older brother was home because of spring break. He asked me what I had thought of the Oscars and I admitted to him I had hated it. I wasn't out to him technically, but I always felt it was the proverbial elephant in the room. I knew he knew, we just never talked about it. He continued to prod me as to why I had hated it and what award it was that had upset me so much, and finally I said it. I had seen Brokeback Mountain.
Last month I came out to my mother, and she knew, of course she knew. I come from the Jack and Ennis era, and we didn't talk about it for lots of reasons. But my dear mother asked why I was so upset. I told her some of my friends had committed suicide 40 years ago because their parents rejected them after they learned they were gay. Yeah, they did. And my mother replied,
I am different.
God bless her, and God bless Brokeback Mountain, and everyone who brought it to the screen. The miracle continues.
For the first time in my life, I feel hope. I had shut down completely without realizing. I just existed. That's all. Existed. This morning, I woke up happy. Really happy. For the first time in a long time.
Life is opened up. I dated for the first time in my life. I lost over 30 pounds and I broke my ass off. I am in 2 plays and I'm recording my 3rd CD. Such a great rush began and has continued since that cataclysmic night back in mid-January.
Since seeing Brokeback, I find myself looking at men with uncontrollably dopey eyes. You couldn't get any dopier than my eyes are right now.
Brokeback Mountain allowed me to come to terms with some issues in my past, but somewhere lurking in the back of my mind, I knew there was more. I just couldn't find it. In the last few days, I have pieced together my thoughts, fears, and needs to explain to myself what happened to me. It was after reading the story 3 times, searching my soul long and hard, and facing what I knew to be the truth, that I made a radical decision. I quit my job after 19 years. I can't believe I'm putting this in writing. I'm staying on to wrap up some projects, but I'm out at the end of the month. I'm looking for a job, though no prospects yet. I'm divorced, 57 years old with 2 kids and 5 grandchildren. And I did the stupidest and bravest thing I've ever done in my life. I can't live in misery for fear of what the future may hold, not anymore. I am laughing to myself, at myself, because though on some level I'm scared to death, I feel a lightness of my heart that I have not felt in forever. None of you made my decision for me, but all of you enveloped me in love, compassion, and understanding. You helped me come to terms with myself and what I need for myself, not for what I thought other people expected. Bless you all.
Brokeback Mountain puts everything in perspective now.
An opportunity for Brokeback speech came up this weekend when we were away in the mountains, having, yes, a Brokeback vacation. It's not the season now for snow, but heavy clouds, low temperatures, and a chilly forecast combined to give me a chance to say, gonna snow tonight, for sure. How bloody pleased I was with myself.
Has Brokeback Mountain given you hope and made joy more possible? I know it has for me. For instance, my partner and I have definitely found a new spiritual censor for our relationship. A more joyful expression. I feel more able to share myself at a deep level with others. I mean, I guess that's part of self-acceptance, I suppose.
This was what I was missing all my life. I called Heidi my Jack and said yes to that little cow and calf operation. It's going to be a sweet life. We're not like other couples, you and I.
Our dreams are like clouds up in the sky.
We stand for below
And watch them as they blow, but they never turn real rain on down. It's dry, 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 and this land that grows in mine. It's dry, bone dry. It's been that way for years. The only thing that flows is the whiskey as she goes, and every now and then some bitter tears. Take it, boys.
Well, every day with you's a holiday. And if you ask me why, here's what I'll say. Soon as we're done to celebrate, it's another year's wait. 'Cause we're not like other couples, you and I. It is dry, dry, dry in this land of yours and mine. It is dry, bone dry, there's not one drop of water there. The only thing that flows is whiskey as she goes, and we don't run out when we're too drunk to compare. it sounds like wedding bells, must be for somebody else. Bells were not like other couples you know. Well, I heard a wedding story a while ago. I'll try to remember if I can. Someone stole the wedding dress. It was really quite a mess. And the groom, well, he ran out with his best man. Where they go, that's what I would like to know. There's no room for two grooms in this world here below. If they want to be together, better wait for better weather. Hell, they just might wait forever, those two guys.
We're not like other couples, you and I.
Our dreams are like clouds up in the sky.
We stand far below,
And watch them as they blow.
but they never will rain on us.
It is dry, dry, dry. The splendor goes in line. It is dry, farm dry. Here we are and here we stay.
We're doing very well, a wicked life ahead. Let's hope that
With
they'll
us
someday.
Time for Post 4000. Last December, this movie came out. Suddenly now, I've radically expanded the base of my friends. Even though the gay movement has always paid lip service to diversity, I've always found that it was the pretty and the young who've always been most valued, not folks from blue and white collar jobs, everyday folks. The ideology of the movement has always advocated coming out. If you don't conform to any of those stereotypes, then you come out to avoid, to nothing. The Forum is a community where communication is the essential element. People are allowed to express their hearts no matter where they are along in their development, and that's a good thing. One of the reasons that Ennis was unable to move forward in his life was because he couldn't see where he could go or what he could be. What this place has given me is a place where I can be myself, see my way forward with people who are like friends and family to me, regardless of their gender, their age, or what they look like. And that's really a good thing, something worth treasuring.
The most important thing about Brokeback was not its commentary on the consequences of the closet, which is what I think most gay men who have seen the film relate to at first, but its re-examination of the traditional constructs of masculinity. As a gay man who grew up feeding and corralling cattle, building fences, and working summers in an oil field roustabout outfit or in an auto repair shop, I have to say that deep down, Jack Twist makes sense to me. The bedrock of my personality, my identity, was laid down in those hard places, in those quiet times. Brokeback Mountain has much to say to men about how often the regime of masculinity demands the beating human heart as a sacrifice. Brokeback allows gay men to declare false and folly, the rigid, reactionary tyranny of the cowboy myth, a myth that Hollywood has coddled and perpetuated. We can be emancipated from this myth.
The truth is, the mythical Hollywood cowboy is emasculated. The real cowboy finds his manhood in the freedom to say who he is, to be who he is, to make his own way. Brokeback requires a man to do his work. It is honest work. The work of opening your heart and exposing it to cold mountain air, laying yourself bare as the ice-scaped rock. Few have either the desire or the ability to do that kind of work. You have to be brave. Bravery is a virtue in limited currency. Who among us is brave enough to lead? From my vantage point on the mountain, I see vast territories to explore. I see that there are trails through the great American desert laid down long ago. I see it passes through people. Go west, young man. It is our destiny to be better than we are.
when I am gone. Don't you cry for me. Don't you pity my sorry soul. What pain there might have been will now be past, and my spirit will be whole. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. I'll have left my feet of clay upon the ground. I will be glory bound. I'll be on my When I am gone, don't you cry for me. Don't you pity my sorry soul. When I am gone, I'll be past, and my spirit will be. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. I'll lift my feet of clay on the ground. I will glory bound. I'll be on my way. When I'm gone, please forgive the wrongs that I might have done to you. There'll be no room for regrets of their high love. Way beyond the I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. I'll lay my frown, and over it's down. I'll be putting on my crown. I'll be on my way. When I'm gone, don't you look for me in the places I have been. I'll be alive, but somewhere else. I'll be on my way again. I'll be on my